Hello and welcome on yet another episode of an unexpected podcast. Today, with me, we have Rainier and Evan, and we will be talking about lists with Ringwraiths. Following our last episode, if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. We were just discussing Ringwraiths, all of their strengths and weaknesses, and who are our favorite ones. And we will also review one of the lists from one of our viewers, and this is going to be an Articon list for 600 points. So we're just going to move straight into the list review. So this is from Arash Hussain. He says, "Hey guys, I love your videos. Could you please review my Articon 2021 list?" So this is a pure Minas Tirith force. It contains Boromir, Captain of the White Tower, on horse with shield and a banner, 3 warriors of Minas Tirith with shields, 1 warrior with spear and shield, 4 rangers with spears, 2 knights with shields. Then second warband is Irolas, with 2 Minas Tirith warriors with shield, 3 rangers with spear, 2 Fountain Court guards with shield, 1 warrior of Minas Tirith with spear and shield, and 1 knight of Minas Tirith with shield. And then third and final warband is Madril, leading 4 warriors of Minas Tirith with shields, 4 rangers with spears, and 1 knight of Minas Tirith with shield. That's 600 points exactly, 12 points of might, 31 models. And he says he played a few games with this list and so far hasn't lost. Well, so to start with, I can see that there are actually 11 rangers here and only 28 warriors. So obviously for the ball limit, you would only be allowed to have 10 rangers. So you might just have to change that. But that's just a minor tweak. Obviously, don't bring it to a tournament because you'll suffer negative points. At Articon, someone's going to check you and you may get a penalty. So just make sure you change that. So now onto the actual list. I suppose one of the first talking points here would be Boromir, Captain of the White Tower, being mounted versus not being mounted. There are some people out there who claim he shouldn't have a horse because you should stick him into your infantry regiment and have him in the center, just to give as much of a banner effect to his infantry. But then
there are some people.
there are
You mean
also
there
some
are
people.
1.5 people?
Well, there are probably more people who prefer him mounted with the shield and banner, because you can always dismount him if you were to stick him into that infantry. And when you're mounted, you obviously get the charge bonuses. You get all of the other cool perks. The one shame with Boromir these days is that if you take the banner, you can't have the lance, and he used to be really really good with like just lance shield mounted, just wrecking things with a +1 to wound. But anyway, so yeah, I personally like the horse edition, and other than that, it looks like a pretty strong solid list. Rangers, all of them have spears, so that's good. It seems that you're going to be playing very much Warriors of Minas Tirith at the front, Rangers at the back. So in some situations that'll work. In other ones, it might not necessarily, because you might find yourself wanting to shoot and at the same time wanting to move fast somewhere. So I would perhaps try to give some of the Warriors of Minas Tirith spears just in case as well, just so you have that additional mobility sort of factor, which where you can, for example, send off your 4 Warriors of Minas Tirith on their own and like have them already have spears, and then Rangers go somewhere else. So it just adds slightly more versatility. You could probably gain some points by just like dropping one of the Rangers, which is too many in your ball limit anyway. So there is a bit of that. And then I'm also not entirely sure about Irolas, but I guess I'll talk about him later. So Rainier, what do you think?
Yeah, I like it. First off, like we all wish you the best at Articon. But I'm a big fan of
Well,
Knights of Minas
unless you
Tirith.
play against me or Matt, then at that point we don't wish you the
That's
best at
true. And
Articon.
then I wish you double the best at Articon.
Thanks.
No. First off, is I really like the Knights of Minas Tirith edition. I like how you have 5, or what is it, 4 in there. Many people who bring Gondor don't realize that these are actually like really cheap defense 6 dudes with lance that can like kill a ton if they get a good roll. The fight 3, of course, being their only weakness. So like I like that. I like how you balance the list a lot. I actually like your hero selection quite a lot, especially for 600 points. Earless, I like at 600 only because he's fight 5 and he has heroic march. Actually, all three of you guys have heroic march, so that's great. But I like Earless.
Boromir doesn't have heroic march, so two of them have heroic march.
Thank you, Evan. We have Evan in here just to make sure we don't mess up, because usually we're corrected by viewers. Then we paid Evan so he can correct us on spot. So,
I wish.
He can just embarrass us on spot.
Exactly. That's when we realize, oh, wow, we actually don't know much about this game.
Yeah.
No, so I like Earless in it because he has fight 5 at 600 points. You said you've played a few games with this list and you're yet to lose. I'm sure he's played that important role in your games, I guess. The White Tower, I guess, banner can be debated. I kind of like it in the sense because it is going to boost your troops pretty well. And at 600 points, each model is going to count. I like the idea of Rangers, what it makes the Rangers fight 5, right?
That's right, yeah.
My only minor change is, okay, I like the Rangers. They're going to be good. They're going to take out, if you come against an army that's not that good at shooting, you'll outshoot them and you'll kind of dictate the game. If you come up against a horde shooting army, they're not going to do much. I like the idea of maybe like adding in a few more Fountain Court Guard. They're 1 more point more from the Wars of Minas Tirith with Spear and Shield. They have the same defense. You can make them 11 points instead for defense 7, but it also gives like more hard like battle lines wherever Boromir is going to be to get fight 5 also, because the Rangers are kind of squishy. So it's kind of save that unless they're shot out before you get into combat. Or as an opponent, if I saw this list right off the bat, the Rangers would be my first target, especially having 31 models. So yeah, I'd maybe try to find that. You could possibly drop 1 Knight of Minas Tirith and upgrade a ton of them to Fountain Court Guard, or even just drop 1 Knight and upgrade a few of your Minas Tirith warriors to Fountain Court Guards, because in my opinion, Minas Tirith Fountain Court Guards are like the best troops because they're so cheap for what you get, and then couple it with Boromir's banner, like fight 5, like just crazy bodyguard, like they're like better than elves in some way. So yeah, that's I guess all I would do. I love the addition of Madril for the scenarios. Again, I'm a fan. I'd be down for debating Earless, but I'm a fan at 600 points and he has March. So yeah, that's all I have to say.
So I actually think this is one of the few cases where Ingold is better than Earless in basically every single way. Number one, and the big reason you see Earless over Ingold is that he is fight 5. But you have a ton of fight 5 spear supports with your Rangers, so that doesn't really matter. The other reason you see him is that Heroic March, which Madril already has. And personally, with 31 models, I think you only really need 1 Heroic March in this list anyways. And other than that, Ingold is just kind of better. He's got Heroic Strike, and Boromir can't be everywhere, so having a secondary Heroic Strike is great. They both got Heroic Defense, so that doesn't change. Ingold has much higher defense 7, and then on to 8 if you get Shield Wall, which you often are, because models within 3 inches of him aren't backing up. He also allows, if you're in a nice tight shield wall, he allows your Minas Tirith warriors within 3 inches to be defense 7, which is extremely useful. Never underestimate defense 7. Against strength 4, yes, and also against shooting as well. So other things I was looking at, I think Boromir, Captain the White Tower, you got to take him on horse and with shield and the banner. The banner is just so useful. I'd never take him with a lance. And the horse, he's a 215 point model, if I correct.
Yeah,
15, I think, with the horse, and then 205 without the horse. You do not want a 205 point model on a without a horse. That it just doesn't work. He's not going to do enough damage. So really, all you're going to be doing is spending 205 points to get a 6-inch +1 fight value banner, which isn't exactly the best use of points. So take the horse. It costs the price of one model. You're not going to need that one model, but you are definitely going to want that horse. So I'd actually disagree with Mick and Rainier about the Rangers specifically in this list. I actually think they might actually be a problem. And the main reason I'm thinking this is because it's 600 points. And at 600 points, there are two lists that are extremely strong. One of them is Corsairs, and the other one is Rangers of Ithilien. And they suck against defense 7, but what they don't suck against is defense 4. And because you have a whole bunch of Rangers, that means that their bowmen can target down the Rangers. Even with an in the way, they can still do it, and you're going to take a whole lot of damage. But also what the sort of the conundrum here is that you want the fight 5 spear support with the Rangers. So really the best thing I could recommend would be front line of Fountain Court guards with shields and then back line of warriors of Minas Tirith, because that makes your entire army basically defense 7, which makes you so much better against shooting. And sure, it takes away your range threat, but you can mitigate that. You've got your banner, you've got heroic march, you've got that high defense. You can get in against your opponent's shooting. And it just offers you so much more protection against some of the strongest lists at this points level, such as Rangers of Ithilien, Corsairs. Even things like Harad and Elves will struggle much more without the Rangers than with the Rangers. But obviously, that list requires far more Fountain Court Guard. So if you don't have the money to fork out to get a bunch of Fountain Court Guards, then the Rangers are a perfectly fine use of points.
It kind of reminds me of like our meta episodes and stuff. I know Rob Cron, who's been on this podcast a lot, he takes Fountain Court spams and he does fairly well with it. But it's kind of like you got to make the decision. Your list is extremely balanced, and that's good if there's a couple tweaks. But it's kind of like some of us are like, keep it balanced, and others are like, lean heavier into your strengths with more Fountain Court Guard, more defense, more punch up front. Yeah, but it's up to you. But what were you gonna say, Mick?
No, I was gonna say, like, I personally, I think I own more Fountain Guards than I do Warriors of Minas Tirith. I must have like 15 or 20 of them or so.
They're just such a discount. Like with the banner too, it's like bodyguard, fight
so
5, defense. You don't even have to go defense 7. You can even go defense 6, and they have a spear.
Yeah,
it's like they're amazing, and they're hard to crack. Like Evan said, with crossbows, win them on 6s. With regular bows, win them on 6 followed by 3s or something. So they are hard to crack for such cheap points.
No, well, no.
Yeah, 6 by 4s.
6. No, they're 6s by crossbows for defense 7. They're 6 by 4s for defense strength 2 bows.
Yeah. So let's say Rangers of Ithilien at 600 points, they're probably getting like 45-ish shots, something like that.
Yeah, but that's only if you do manage to get the scenario that allows you to have those shots. In a lot of scenarios, you're not even gonna be shooting at all. So yeah, I kind of agree.
We're kind of building like I don't think the idea of building just against like 2 lists for Articon that's going to be 6 games is really.
Well, it depends on how much you're sacrificing and how popular Rangers of Ithilien is going to be, because I think my advice would be phased out if, say, FAQs come out that nerf the Rangers of Ithilien. But because the list is so ridiculously strong at 600 points, I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be playing it.
It'll be a very exciting tournament.
Yeah, it'll be so incredibly exciting.
No, but even other things like Lady of Light, who's going to cause her army to be terrified, and like the Fountain Court Guard will have bad bodyguard and go into them. And then like the elves, even like, let's say you'll tie elves wound you on 6s, you'll probably winning on 5s or 6, and like you'll have more models than the elves. And yeah, it's just it is good. The Rangers are the only soft spot.
Yeah.
Which you could have probably already Arash come against like your games, but yeah, I would just say more metal.
Yeah, like if you were to like decide, okay, I want to fully metagame this tournament, and you were to assume that okay, best players know that ranges are gonna be big, so then best players will be aiming to take Shadow Lords and Ladies of Light. Therefore, your bows are not really good against that or the Rangers. So unless you're playing a Corsair army, chances are maybe you shouldn't even take any bows at all.
Mm-hmm.
So like it just sort of depends on how
Yeah,
you
it does
feel about
depend.
what the meta is gonna be.
And
But at the same
even
time, it's really like people don't like Rangers, and therefore there is a bit of a stigma against Rangers. So chances are a lot of people won't take Rangers because of the stigma.
yeah, and it's even like your play style too. Like it's 10 Rangers in a 600-point list. That's not no slouch in shooting. If you come up against like an army that has an average amount of shooting, you're still going to outshoot them. An army that has no shooting with your 2 heroic marches and Boromir on a horse, you're going to outmaneuver and outshoot anything and basically dictate the game. So I don't know. You're even if you get rid of the Rangers, you're going to lose something. So who knows? 6 games. Everyone knows shooting is people, but like I have faith that like not even like 20% will bring like those heavy like Rangers spams. Like it's you're going to see like a lot of diversity, and maybe keeping the Rangers would give you a good footing because your army's very mobile, and even if it's super mobile, you're hitting on 4s, which is amazing. And you got that fight 4 turning into fight 5 if you want to use them in combat. So yeah, I still think maybe a couple more Fountain Court guards. You can even spam Fountain Court guards, replace all your warriors with Fountain Court guards. But I don't know. The Rangers are up for debate.
Question: how many points is Irolas? 60?
Irolas
65.
is 65.
Same with
Because
Ingold.
For 25 points more, you could have Huron, which would give you a second very strong fighter.
Well, I wouldn't overestimate Huron here. I've had some horrible things go wrong with Huron.
Of course, yeah, of course, that's always going to happen. But he is fight 5. He would be another heroic striker in your list. You already have a march with Madril, so you don't necessarily need additional marches.
You could throw away Boromir and keep Huron alive too.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can just go crazy with Boromir and not really care that much about him.
Does Irolas get heroic defense though?
He
yes.
does, yeah.
That's why I would keep Irolas.
That's why I recommended Ingle, because he gives that heroic strike. He basically has no downsides compared to Irolas, except for losing a march, which you already have with Madril. And he's got heroic defense. And he's higher defense. I just feel like
the Tin Man has heroic defense too.
Yeah, Ingold is heroic defense. Yeah.
Okay.
Strike and defense.
I just think heroic defense at a low point game is like the new transfix. You just throw him in to the 1 mega hero your opponent has and be like heroic defense for 3 times too, because he's 3 might. So yeah, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think Boromir is very, very unlikely to die at this points level, unless your opponent has, I'd say, 2 or more casters. Maybe they could do it with 1. You're really not going to be killing Boromir, because worst comes to worst, he is 6 might and heroic defense. Like, it's going to be so hard to kill him. So I don't know if Huron's protecting the hero special rule is going to be super necessary, especially with how hard to kill Huron is. So I think
below 30 models too is a little too little.
Yeah, I'd say Ingold is probably your best option, because he can also give you sort of pseudo Fountain Court guard with your Warriors of Minas Tirith with shield, because of their ability to get defense 7 in a shield wall position.
Yeah. Just tell us how you do at Articon. Like, I'm super curious how your games go to, like 6 games. I'm really curious about that. Yeah, should we move on to the next part?
Yeah, cool. All right, so we have some lists with Ringwraiths. Who wants to go first?
I'll hit it. I'll do it.
Let's go. Let's go east to west.
East to west.
Yeah.
What is that? South Korea.
Yeah.
UK, London, Boston,
America. Yeah.
Sounds good. I got two in case we need more too. So My first, I'm revising the double fell beast. So last, yeah, it's probably a horrible list, but like, hey, we had some boundaries on what we could choose, and I'm gonna choose some of my top Ringwraiths in this list. Which one should I go with? Oh, they're both not that good, but I'll go with this one. So my first one is gonna be the Witch King on Fell Beast, and he has a Morgul crown. He's special kitted 3 might, 14 will, 2 fate. So Morgul crown, of course, lets him get 3 attacks in combat, and it allows him to reroll a dice when casting and resisting. So I really like that. The 14 will seems a little low, but when he gets those extra dice to cast on his really low things, I really like that about him. He's leading 8 Black Numenorians and 10 Morannon Orcs. 7 of the Morannon Orcs with spear, and 3 of the Morannon Orcs with shield. Or excuse me, not shield, with axe. After that, I was kind of debating Khamûl or the Shadow Lord, but today I'm just going combat. So I'm going to choose the Khamûl on Fell Beast. He's leading 8 Black Numenorians and 7 Morannons, 5 with spear, 2 with axe. And then my last warband is I got to take him because why not? Soladan on horse, and he armored horse. He's leading 2 Serpent Riders and 2 Haradrim Raiders with bow. So the basic makeup of this list is it's kind of got 3 threats, both the Witch King and Khamûl. I like Khamûl because he reminds me of the old meta of Ringwraiths. You cast and you combat. We talked in detail about him last episode on how he's always doing something each turn. You never really waste his turns. His ability to go to fight 6 in combat makes him be able to combat elves. He can heroic strike, so you can actually 50-50 throw him up against a mega hero and be like, oh shoot, potentially I can wipe out this mega hero, or potentially he could kill me. So there's a lot of flexibility there. He regains his will points for every time he kills a model in combat. So I really like that aspect of him kind of with the Witch King on Fell Beast. I think the Witch King on Fell Beast with the Morgul crown is one of those models that I just run shivers down my neck when I see him. I'm just like, this is freaky. Like, this guy's going to cast whatever he casts and kill whatever he hits. So they both have heroic strike, the double Fell Beast. On top of that, I have Soladan. I have him there for the banner points, to be honest, because I didn't want to waste 25 points for a banner. Why not add in Soladan, who is, we can probably all agree, he's the Galadriel of evil.
Yeah, he goes anywhere and everywhere.
He goes anywhere and every, exactly. So his 6-inch banner.
Fell Beast have 3 attacks, has 4 attacks in charge.
Exactly. 4 attacks on the charge, which is terrifying with Khamûl and the Witch King. And also that he's no slouch in combat. Like, this sucker can knock down things and kill it, reroll ones.
He has his own 5 attacks on charge.
Exactly. He's fight 5 with rogue strike. He's got that 1 fate, but because he's not your leader, the Witch King is going to be my leader. He can get wounded and I don't feel too bad about it. So that's it. On top of that, I have 5 horse. So for the objective game, a lot of the new scenarios are objective based. You got to get places. Soladan also has heroic march. So I almost wanted to bring the Shadow Lord over Khamûl, but back to like American meta in a way. Why balance something when you can lean harder into what you like? So that is combat. This is a combat wraith kind of list. So yeah, I like that. On top of that, I have 16 Black Numenorians who are all going to be terrifying, and I keep both the Mordor and Haradrim Serpent Horde bonuses. So when I outnumber my opponents, the Black Numenorians are going to be Courage 5. On top of that, I have a battle line of terrifying models with Harbinger of Evil all across the whole battlefield. And on top of that, if I outnumber my opponents, all of my Morannons, which I have a lot of Morannons, and people don't realize Morannons kill stuff. Like, they're really, really good. I think, who was it? Tim, who always raves about them being like some of the best generic troops.
Yeah, so Tim recently win a tournament, and so I think he may
everything he says is golden. He's actually sleeping right now, probably because he's like nursing his victory parade.
Celebrating.
No, he's at a brunch place probably. No. So I decided to put axes on my Mirandans too, because you can equip them with axes. So why not have them fight strength 5 when you want? So yeah, I have that. On top of that, you reroll ones for all Mordor warriors if you outnumber your opponent on the battlefield. So my whole army is actually rerolling ones outside of Kamul and the Witch King. So Soladan is the Haradrim's Raiders and Serpent Riders are got that selective fight 4-2 for the Serpent guys. But yeah, so like they're all rerolling one. So even I feel like the main focus is two casters, one really good caster, 3 combat heroes, 2 of them on fell beasts who can destroy troops and destroy heroes, and defense 6 battle line that's terrifying with rerolling of 1 throughout the whole army. So I like it. I actually would love to play this, to be honest, guys.
That sounds very strong. How many models do you have in total?
Only 40.
Oh,
well, I say only 40. I mean, I don't think it's too much. I mean, you know me, guys. I'm like anything under 60 is a disappointment.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but
so, but I do have.
I'm looking at 40 models, and I'm like, yeah, 40 models. That's a horde. I'm getting there, but you're like, oh, 40 models. Jeez.
I literally shed a tear when I wrote it. I was like, I thought this would come out to 48. Like, what is wrong with me? Like, but I do like it because I kind of was able to upgrade a lot of things that I wanted to upgrade. And before I actually started playing hordes, I did play double fell. I won Nova with double fell beasts. And I had, I think, 33 guys at an 800 point army. And the majority, actually all of them were Harad. So they were like defense 4. So, I like this army a lot because it gives me some cover fire and shooting. The battle line isn't going to die. And if the battle line does what it can probably maybe do, which is like punch through troops, like I'm not even relying on that. The two fell beasts, combat fell beasts are where the thing shines. And of course, Soladan, I'm not going to shy away from a rogue combat or 2 with him just to break the opponent. So yeah, I wanted to write a fell beast list and like incorporate my top. I think these 2 guys were in my top 5, but now I'm like, actually, I really want to play this.
Yeah, people generally underestimate Kamul too.
Yeah, or they
just
overestimate him.
Yeah, but he's just there. Like there are all those cool rules for everybody else, but like this guy has heroic strike, and so by default, it's like just don't forget about this guy.
And he's the only one too that you can throw him against elves and be like 1 will to fight 6.
Yeah.
So like the whole like elves against fell beasts doesn't really matter with Kamul, to be honest, because he can mitigate that with 1 will point that he's going to regain. So he is, I think I agree with, he's kind of like a sleeper.
The thing about him as well is like people think, oh, he's a terrible caster. Look at how hard it is for him to cast these spells. But what they forget is he has probably, maybe after the Undying, but maybe even more than that, he has the most longevity over any other Ringwraith. So you can keep continuously casting those spells. And if you need to refresh will points, you can go off and just murder a bunch of guys and then keep going, keep casting spells.
Yeah.
So he actually comes out to be a decent all-around Ringwraith because of how many will points he can regenerate.
And like the idea that like people are like, he's a bad caster. He's still a caster. Like he's still like a caster. And then you have, you usually see him in Easterling armies with Amdor or anything else. Like this list has the Witch King, who's a caster and a fantastic caster, re-rolling his casts as well. So I think we always talk about when you have a hero, always give him cover and stuff. Like I think he has good cover. I always try to relate it to like a baseball lineup, American analogy. But if you have like a good cleanup hitter, it's actually best to have like someone in front or behind him that can hit as well. And it makes him even better because then the pitcher has to worry about, oh shoot, I'm not going to walk somebody to pitch him or walk him because someone after him can hit a home run. So I like that. And like my heroes, give them a little cover.
I mean, a triple heroic strike is like really, really strong in this list. And also people tend to forget about the fact, like people think, oh yeah, this guy is a bad caster, so we're not going to cast spells. But in fact, what happens, you end up rolling more dice to cast your spells. Therefore, you're maximizing the chances of getting a 6. So when you do actually cast that spell, it's harder to resist than average other spells.
Exactly. And like Evan said too, he's the only one that can, or one of the only ones, I guess, who can just go regain his will.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Okay, I'm going to throw him into combat. Why not be like, okay, I don't need to cast anything but drain courage. Why not?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, I got a 6. Like, okay, nice. So everything, like when his magic goes off, it's like, it's a bonus, but you really take him to rip through stuff. So yeah, I like that. And then of course, Soladin's banner is going to make him and the Witch King like that much more dangerous in combat.
Nice.
Yeah, sweet.
Cool. So
so okay, back now we're going to go, we went far east, now we're going to go mid east.
no, it's GMT. It's technically the center of the universe.
The UK is the central of the universe.
Time. That's what it's called.
Interesting. That's what UK stands for, right? Universal Kentucky or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, your turn, Mike.
So I decided to go with 700 points. I had this idea a while ago that especially in smaller points levels, like 600 or 700, there is always a lot of like these little madrills and these little two wound, one fate, one will models, which are always there to give you the 3 additional might points, but they are very squishy to black darts. So I decided to go with a list which tries to maximize the amount of black darts that you can cast, and then has terror all over, and also has pretty decent numbers. So it starts with the Witch King on horse with crown and 3 might, 12 will, and 2 fate points. Then in his warband he has 9 Black Numenorians and 5 orcs with spears. One of those orcs also carries a banner. Then we have the Shadow Lord on a horse with 5 Black Numenorians, 5 orcs with spears, and a Warg Rider with a shield. And then the third warband is the Undying on a horse with 6 Black Numenorians, 5 orcs with spears, and 1 Warg Rider. So this is 37 models, 699 points. Within it, you have 5 cavalry models, and your front line is 17 Black Numenorians. So your entire front line also causes terror. So as I said, the general idea with this is before you engage, you should be able to like cast 3 black darts per turn, even though they're generally cast on a 5+. You just have so much will. Like Witch King can usually be just using 2 points of will and then rerolling 1. You're fine using a might point to even make it a 5 sometimes. Shadow Lord is sitting there on 14. He's gonna be giving bow protection, but if he doesn't have to be giving bow protection, he can just be burning all of his will on black darts. And the Undying starts with, I believe, 18 points of will. Plus, if there is a turn where you are intending to focus on one hero and you really intend to be casting multiple spells, the Undying can also just regain another will point. So I was sort of stuck between the Undying and Dwimmer Lake, but Dwimmer Lake is just too easy to just like randomly die to a Legolas or something like that because of lack of fate. And so it would be just a really, really major hit if like Legolas went, oh yeah, I'm just gonna roll a dice, I'm gonna roll a 4, I'm gonna use 2 might points, okay, he's dead. So the Undying is there for that. So yeah, essentially the strategy with this is kind of similarish to a Black Riders Legion, where they would try to do 150,000 black darts and then run around and have a really boring game where you're just chasing them whilst failing courage tests and dying. But here the numbers are pretty decent. Like if you compare, you had 40 models at 800 points, Rainier. I have 37 at 700, and that's kind of getting into like upper levels when you're talking about lists which have quite strong front line, especially with the bow protection from Shadow Lord. So yeah, so there isn't that much else to it. It's essentially Black Dart the little heroes, then see if you can somehow either transfix or Black Dart the bigger heroes. And even if your opponent's playing Galadriel Lady of Light, you can just be casting so many spells that even if she's managed to cast her Fortify Spirit, well, if she only uses 2 points of will to resist a sub will, then chances are some sub wills are going to be going through, and she might very quickly run out. And once her will is gone, then the will of the other heroes is going to be gone too, and they won't be able to do very much.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned that about Galadriel, Lady of Light, because so many times people shy away from Ringwraiths because she's out there, when sometimes it's like just add more darkness and it'll puff out her light. You know what I mean? Like even my choice for Kamul is, oh no, Galadriel's out there. Let me just throw my Kamul against her and like rogue strike 50-50, she's dead. But I really do like it. Yeah, I do like it. It reminds me of a list I actually saw at 750 my last round at Articon. And this guy had the Shadow, he was from Belgium. He had Shadow Lord, Witch King with all kitted on a horse, and what's his face? Mouth of Sauron. And it was basically that same thing. He was like, piece me. I won the game, like barely, but it was the same thing. You're like, okay, you have a hero with 3 will. I literally don't care. It's going to take 2 or 3 turns and he's dead. And then the next 2 or 3 turns, that one's dead. 2 or 3 turns, that one's dead.
Yeah.
And it's just, it sucks, to be honest. And especially the Shadow Lord, because it's like the Agmar magic is like, they're coming at you slow and you shoot them and you like dwindle them down. This Pale of Darkness, like doom, is like, shoot, I can't even do that. They're just coming and they're going to kill whatever. And then you're right, like the lower points, Huron, we talked about Huron, like Bossbring Huron, like he's dead in 1 turn.
Huron just dies in 1 turn. Madril just dies in 1 turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Eurus just dies in 1 turn. Like, and especially,
and all those horses that were like, you must bring a horse.
Like you have all those might points when you can just go, oh well, I cast, I rolled a 4. Fine, I'll just make it a 5. Oh, I rolled a 2 to wounds. Okay, I'll just make it a 3 because I'm still casting 2 more black darts. Chances are he's gone this turn. And yeah, the other thing was, obviously Shadow Lord is protecting you very well, but if you come back to Galadriel, yes, you get 2 additional points of will to stop a spell, but rolling 2 dice and trying to resist a spell that's being cast on a 5, there's only it's a 56% chance of you rolling a 5 or 6 on 2 dice. So it's essentially a coin flip. And so if you see 3 Ringwraiths coming at you, chances are you probably want to be using your own will points from your own store. Because if you don't, then every time there is a sub will or any other spell, there's a 50-50 that is going to go through anyway.
And it's kind of like the aspect too, where you see like black darts, a good way to get rid of might too on your opponents. Because they're not going to do it. And you put the ball in their court and they're kind of like, oh shoot, what am I going to spend the might so I don't potentially get wounded? What am I going to do? So it's very, very nice in that sense. And then all the named heroes with horses that we talked about at lower point, 700 and lower, 10 points is still a lot of points as you're like building whatever. And to know that if they have 3 mounted heroes, 30 points of their whole list is just boom. So you're playing 670 to 700 basically. You know what I mean? So yeah, I like that aspect. And I love the Undying in your list too, because that's just one of those suckers that never dies and always casts. Like, and it's not even that his like casting is bad either too. So it's just, he's constantly there and you're like, oh gosh. And then the Witch King's there. Oh gosh. And then the Shadow Lord's like, I'm here too. Let me join. Oh gosh. So it's just boom, boom, boom. It sucks. Yeah. I would not want to play that, to be honest.
Can just be 1 dice casting there, his black darts and stuff like that. Because then essentially if you do it in 1 dice, it with his crown, it's effectively 2 dice.
Yeah. It just sucks too because
the power gamer in me wants to find some way to make the Undying the leader, because obviously he's got 18 will points that he can use as fate points. And but obviously the first thing I thought of was try and figure out a way to replace the Witch King with Kamul, but the Witch King can work on a horse and Kamul really can't. He needs a fell beast to be really successful, because Kamul, the whole point of Kamul is he needs to do fighting. He needs to be killing guys. And it's harder for him to do that when he's only got 1 attack on a horse. So I think the Witch King is probably the right play. But other than that, I really like this list. The Shadow Lord is great. The Undying is a bit of a sleeper pick, but he's also great. And the Witch King is the Witch King. So I think the list will probably struggle against, like, those very elite big shield walls. Something like maybe Iron Hills or Fountain Court Guard supported by Boromir, or even more like Horde Elf lists. Will probably shut this thing down, because the whole point of your list is to deal with those heroes and take care of heroes, and none of your heroes are really that offensive, except for sort of the Witch King, who's fight 5, so that's a big weakness there. So even in those scenarios where, sure, you can shut down Dane, you can shut down Boromir, but they've still got Boromir's still got his banner, and you've still got these, strength 4, defense 7, whatever troops that are going to beat through. I mean, sure, the Black Numenorian line is good, but it won't beat everything.
Sure.
But
yeah, it's one of those lists.
It's a great list.
Like Evan said, you're going to take out all the strengths of theirs, unless they don't have any strengths in their heroes.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shoot. So I mean, it's really good in that sense. I also like the idea of you're closing the distance game with the Shadow Lord, and then when it comes to the middle game with your casting, they're going to want to get into combat as fast as possible. But actually, when they get into combat, the Shadow Lord's Black Dart's only 6 inches, then that kicks in. So it's like, I like the idea that it's like the far game, you're closing.
But isn't the Undying's Black Dart also 6 inches?
Oh, I haven't checked that.
This is when we look and we realize the Undying doesn't even have Black Dart.
This is one where
I doubt that, but
actually, this list is terrible.
Oh gosh, his is 6 inches.
Yeah, so you're
good thing we're paying
not going to be
Evan.
Black Darting until you're very close range. So that's another problem.
Sure.
So it's just based on that, Mick. It sucks. Get this
I know.
Yeah, get this dang list out of here.
Yeah, so we turn into Gordon Ramsay. Get out of here.
And he's done. Bye, Mick. So
disconnected.
I think this list might actually work better at 800 points, because there you can throw in maybe another budget Ringwraith.
Oh yes, go with 4.
Yeah, 4 Ringwraiths. I
literally have a 4 Ringwraiths list.
I do as well.
That I can share. If we have time for an extra, it'll be like for the children. Here we go.
See, in this particular list, you could change the Undying for two budget wraiths too.
Which is exactly what I did
for
my next list.
4 Black Darts.
Yeah, why bring 2 when you can bring 8? No.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
No, but I think we all agree. Like, it's really like, man, I do miss playing Ringwraiths. Like, these past 2 episodes are like, holy smokes! Like, I could revive the boys.
There's another thing with them where, like, people forget about the fact that, okay, well, Black Dart is good against heroes, but like, if my opponent only has like 25 models and they're Iron Hills, well, one dicing Black Darts, it's like shooting a bow that goes 5 to hit, 3 to kill, or 4 to kill for defense 8. So, like, and you can still use it as just, oh yeah, here's some bowfire.
Yeah, and we're talking about Black Dart too. I think both of our lists, we have Harbinger of Evil, Black Numenorian line. Why not Drain Courage, which is hit on exactly. A 2+? Yeah. Like, why not boom 2+, 1-? And they're like, should I do it? Should I not? And they're of course probably going to do it. And even if they pass it, it's like you're wasting will. So you can literally render someone like Huron, even if you don't want to, like, oh, let me like Black Dart him to death. Drain Courage and he can't really do anything. Or
because in fact, if you look at it that way, also with Undying, using his special ability, Drain Courage is cast on a 2+ on all the wraiths. So you're actually regaining, like, you're pretty much guaranteeing to regain will points, and you can start casting it earlier. You can just go, okay, well, here's Boromir. He starts on courage 6. Well, he's courage 5 because of Harbinger. End of turn 1, before the combat even started, he's either courage 2 and will struggle to overcharge, or he's losing his will points. So then if he charges, he won't fight.
Yeah, the great thing about that as well is no one wants to spend their will points
No.
to fight against a Drain Courage, a spell that you cast on a 2-up.
Yeah.
You want to save your will points for something like a Transfix or a Compel that'll pull you out of your lines and then put you in a place where you can easily be killed.
Mhm.
So it synergizes so great with the Undying, because if you're successfully casting spells, then the Undying's getting his will points back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and we're
it's
talking
hard to
about
deal
like
with.
good armies. You see a lot of evil armies at low points too. Evil hordes and stuff. And evil like heroes are really, really bad with courage. You come
Yeah.
against Dalmir. Dalmir's courage 4, courage 3 with Harbinger. Be like, boom, like take it, and then you have like a courage 1 Dalmir, and he's not doing anything in the game.
You come up against things like Gurits or any of the orc captain
Mhm.
sort of heroes. You go, okay, well, you're already courage 2 with Harbinger. Boom, you're 1. Then the other hero is also courage 1. The other hero is courage 1 now too. And like there are so many evil armies where people don't bring any sort of shaman or something like that, especially like Haradrim. A lot of the time in Mordor lists, people won't bring a shaman because they might be going Black Numenorian.
Well, I mean, even if it is a shaman, other than Kardush, because Kardush is special, Black Dart is nowhere near as good as it used to be, but it still exists. And when you cast a Black Dart, that Black Dart is probably going to stick because you cast it on a 5-up. So any shaman has 3-ish will points. They're spending 1, maybe 2 to cast Fury. Just throw a Sap Will at them.
Yeah.
If you get it off, then the auto pass courage is completely gone. And then they're dealing with your super terrifying line with the -1 courage, and a bunch of Drain Courage is coming their way. And their heroes are just going to not be able to play the game, basically.
Cave Troll too. Like your Cave Troll's courage 2. Now he's courage 1. Like now he's courage 0. Like
yeah, I'm not sure if you can go below 1.
I think you can't.
Or yeah,
good thing we've got Evan on retention.
That say you can't. It would be really funny if you could
if you
just
could
have like a courage -3 Aragorn who can never charge into combat.
All right. So what'd you bring, Evan?
Yeah. So I did bring a 4 Ringwraith list, but I think we've done enough of Mordor for one day. So I'm gonna go with this incredibly wacky Angmar list that I came up with. So warband number 1 is the Witch King on horse with the Crown of Morgul with 3 might, 4 will, 2 fate. And I know what you're thinking. Evan, that's not wacky at all. Don't worry, it gets better. So in his warband, there's 5 orcs with spears and shields, 2 orcs with shields, 1 orc with spear, shield, and banner, 4 Deadmarsh Spectres. Warband number 2, Dwemer Lake on horse. And in that warband, 5 Angmar warriors with spears and shields, 2 orcs with shields, 3 Deadmarsh Spectres. Warband number 3 is the Shade. 2 Angmar warriors with shields, 6 warriors with spears and shields, 4 Spectres. And in the 4th warband is an Angmar captain on warg with 2 warg riders, 1 with shields and another with shield and throwing spears. All out 800 points. This is 40 models. You've got 2 casters in the Witch King and the Dwemer Lake. And just in case you're not going to be, you have courage tests and stuff like that are really bad, 11 Spectres will probably get the job done. So the whole point behind this list is you've got the Dwemer Lake and the Shade who have got their super cool bubbles, but they're only 6 inches. So if you have 11 Spectres, your opponent probably isn't going to be able to avoid those bubbles very well. So the whole plan behind this, use the Angmar captain, march your army forward, use the Spectres to bring models towards you and grind them down with your Shade and your banner and your Dwemer Lake special rule. And if there are any heroes, the Dwemer Lake will cut down on their might points, cut down on their will points, and you have 3 spirits in this army list who can provide the 3-inch terror effect. and combine that with drain courages and the Dwemer Lake special rule, and you're really going to struggle to charge it. So yeah, that's my list.
Yeah, that's very cool. Like I saw a list once with like 15 specters at the front. I was like, yeah, that's interesting. And then they all striking against courage, and then you have drain courage, and suddenly it's like, oh well, so actually, like you kill 50-50, 50% of the time. You basically kill if you win fight. So that's actually very cool. Even though people generally see them as, oh, I'm just gonna throw in one or two specters just so I can move a model sometimes, just so I can move a banner away. But actually, yeah, if you spam on them, it's a cool idea.
It is cool.
The weakness of this list are quite obvious. High courage models and models with auto pass courage aren't going to be the most fun to play against. But I mean, there aren't too many other weaknesses. That whole shooting problem that Angmar usually has, once you get within 12 inches of their archers, they're not going to be shooting. They're going to be running all over the place. And you can deal with heroes with the Dwemer Lake. Don't even need the Barrow Whites because the heroes aren't going to be charging anybody, so it doesn't really matter. And the Shade is obviously super powerful and really becomes incredible when your opponent is forced to fight you where you want to fight them, which you can do with the Spectres. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to make. It's a little wacky though.
It's good though. It's good wacky. It's like I like I know like the whole bubble of death with the Shade and the Dwemer Lake, like that's dangerous, but it's only one position where that's affecting it. But I like how you added the captain to make that even that more powerful. Even the captain gives, let's say, 9 inches plus 12, so that's 21 inches for the specters. That's disgusting. And even the objective game, I mean, you look at it on paper and you're like, the objective game, it's all in one place. You're not gonna like the specters can toss people off of objectives. So it's very much the only weakness would be elves and like bodyguard and like high defense that's just like doesn't care. But like just like we said with the list review, you don't build a list against one list.
Yeah,
because everyone that I've seen do that is like totally screwed and gets like 3 wins, 3 losses because it's just like
they lose against everything else.
Yeah, exactly. So I like the idea of this list. I came up against like a list with a whole bunch of specters, even against my crossbow spam, and it's like they're moving 3 or 4 crossbows each turn, and like those heavy shooting evil armies aren't actually doing that as much. The cavalry armies, you're going to pull people in front so you can have the initiative. Like it's quite a lot of shenanigans going on. So I like that. And of course, me, you know me, Evan, I'm like, why balance it when you can lean harder? like if I were to like have like a persona for lists, I'd be like a pirate limping one way because I'm like, I'm not all about balance. You just got to lean a little harder into it. So I like it. I like it a lot. I like it. Out of all the Angmar lists, it'd probably be up there with one of the lists I really like. Only weakness, of course, being like we said, like elves are high defense. Plus, it kind of follows Mick's example that outside of the Shade, it's not going to be doing that much output with killing. So it shuts down quite a lot of tools. It shuts down the heroes and it shuts down the army. But it's not going to be killing too much, which I don't think is a problem, to be honest.
I actually disagree with that killing part because remember, your specters are striking against courage.
Yeah.
So that's especially true. Against like defense 7 bodyguard with Fountain Court, they're courage 3 down to courage 2, or maybe still courage 3 because of the army bonus. You're wounding them on 4s, and you've got the Shade and you've got a banner. And I ran the math on it, and like they go even, if not better, against Fountain Court in Shade range. And because you've got your specters, you're probably going to be in Shade range more often than not. Mm-hmm. And the list doesn't really suffer that much if it spreads out because, again, you've got your specters. They cause terror. So it's hard for say, flanking cavalry forces or anything like that to charge them. They've got their special rule, so they can make any of those flanking cavalry forces just run away entirely. So I think I think it might be a really strong list.
Yeah, you should take this to event, Evan. I'm all like
each one of these
Ringwraith lists. I'm like, we should take these. Like these are pretty spicy.
They might be good.
Tournaments and take a different one every time.
Yeah, whoever watches our podcast should just like be like, let me look at an episode. Which list should I take?
We're just trying to create a Ringwraith meta so that we can take horde armies that won't care about Ringwraiths, horde bodyguarded armies.
It's true.
Or just throw Galadriel, Lady of Light, into every list and win.
Well, no, because she might not even be enough if people are bringing like 3 or 4 wraiths in every game.
True.
Yeah.
But actually, the thing with the Shade, you mentioned how the Spectres go pretty much head to head with Fountain Guards. Essentially, Shade's rule of giving -1 to win for opponents is equivalent to giving all of your models fight value 11, because effectively, every time you roll
sometimes
a 6,
even more than that if you go up against like Moria or something.
Oh yeah,
fight
of course,
2.
Yeah.
Oh, against Goblin Town, this would be ridiculous because you win on
11
5s.
M+1 to win or something like that.
Yeah.
And you can actually go to 7. They can't.
Yeah.
Because effectively, if let's say if you roll a 6 and the elf rolls a 6, then you win because their 6 becomes a 5. So it's the same thing without a Shade. If you roll a 6, they roll a 6, they win. Because of the 5 value. So yeah, like people need to realize that when you're thinking about the Shade, especially fighting just troops versus troops, it effectively means that your troops always have a higher fight value. And if they already do, then that's like higher fight value and a +1 to win, pretty much.
It's insane. Like, I know you can't really ally him in. I don't get how he was downgraded at all, to be honest, in the new edition. I think his addition to Agmar makes the list amazing. He's one of those things that is amazing. Like, you guys give me these statistics and it's like, that's insane. Like what the heck? It ruins people's day.
With your Spectres.
Exactly. And then Evan's list too has like, heroes can't even spend might to up that because they're too worried about the 2 Ringwraiths, like casting whatever their shenanigans on them. And then also the Dwemer Lake doing his shenanigans. So it's like, it's a good list, Evan. You should take it.
But also heroes might have to spend their might to actually be able to charge.
Yeah.
So like there isn't any might left to actually win those combats.
Your only hope is to run away and shoot.
Yeah, I guess the
preferably at the same
time of this list is you only have 5 might, but you only really need 5 might. You have terror, you've got your Spectres, so you don't really need to move first, especially seeing as you want to wait and see which heroes pass their courage test to charge your orcs and which heroes fail, and then react with your Ringwraiths accordingly. So you don't really need a lot of might points, honestly.
Yeah, that's a funny thing with armies that cause terror in the front line, like Black Numerians and Angmar specifically. Like, you only like want might if you want to be moving first, but with terror causing armies, you don't want to be moving first. You want them to move first and hopefully fail some courage tests, and then make up their battle line, being like, I'm not gonna move here, I'm not gonna go there, I'm not gonna do this. I'm just gonna move back, and then that's when you go and pick off things.
Yeah, because if like they move half of their guys in, you don't engage the rest of the half. You just double up on those guys that engage. Yeah, so it's good. It's good. It's very fun. Should we do one more? What's the time limit? Shall I pull up
the 17 Felbeast list that you just wrote?
The Cuatro? Okay.
It was actually a few years ago. I think it was 2017 or 18 ETC. And there was a limit of normally like 1 named hero per team. So per team of 4 players. But obviously, that meant like normal Ringwraiths were not technically named heroes. And so I remember, I think it may have been the French team. Between the 4 players, they end up having like 13 Ringwraiths or something ridiculous like that.
That's so funny. Oh my god!
And it was like the olden days.
Yeah, here's a list with just 4 budget wraiths.
they show up wearing all black and hoods and
Yeah.
stuff. And it's like, oh, here we go. Okay, so I guess I'll try to revive that. So here's another 800 points list. I know we always bring 800 us Americans, but typically at the more competitive events, you'll see 800. So that's why we're bringing it. My first warband is Witch King, Horse, Morgul Crown, 3 Might, 14 Will, 2 Fate, same build, 8 Black Numenorian, 6 Morannon Orcs with Spear and Axe. Second warband is the Shadow Lord on Horse, 8 Black Numenorian, 6 Morannons with Spear and Axe. Third warband is a Budget Wraith, and he has 2 Might, 9 Will, 1 Fate. He's leading 4 Black Numenorian and 3 Brandons with Spear and Axe. And then my last warband is another Budget Wraith, 291, same makeup, 4 Black Numenorian, 3 Brandon with Spear and Axe. So the basic makeup is, I brought the 4 Wraiths because that's the theme of it. 46 models at 800 points. Not only that is I have the Shadow Lord and Defense 6 front line to get into combat. So I think I'll arrive with a good amount of troops. Same whole makeup we all been talking about. Black Numenorian, Harbinger, battle line I have 16, 17, 20. I have 24 Black Numenorians. So that's quite a lot. The rest are Morannons, Shadow Lord, and 2 Budget Wraiths. I have 9 Will on the Budget Wraith, which actually isn't that low, to be honest. The 2 Might each gives them, they have Heroic March, is why I ranked them last episode as being so high, is they have Heroic March. So I have 2 Heroic Marches in the list, which are on Ringwraiths. So I can do a lot of shenanigans with that. The Witch King has his Mortal Crown for casting. That's why I chose it. But he's also on a horse with 3 attacks. Not a slouch. Yeah, so I have a ton. There's not going to be that much killing output, but I have 4 Wraiths, all with Black Dart and casting and all the shenanigans. And I do think I will outnumber quite a lot of my opponents with all of that and not losing much of any of it to shooting because of the Shadow Lord and just the high defense. So yeah, again, 600 points, 46 models, and 4 Wraiths. One of them being the Shadow Lord on a horse, one of them being the Witch King on horse, basically kitted out with his crown and 3 Might, 14 Will, 2 Fate. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Wait, did you say 600 points?
800 points.
800.
I was about to steal it for
that would be crazy. Yeah.
If it was 600 points, Lord have mercy.
46 models with 4 Ringwraiths. I'll take that.
I could probably do it, actually, to be honest. Let me see.
Yeah, if you were to change all of your Black Numenorians and all of your Morannons into just basic orcs with just picks or axes with no shields, and then backed by orcs with spears,
Or you can
somehow don't
drop
think
the
that
Shadow
would be too effective.
Yeah.
You really want to take Black Numenorians with that many Ringwraiths. But so what I like especially about Rainier's list is it's sort of solves, I guess, part of the problems that Mick's list had, in that
Mick, it's better than yours.
Yeah,
well, Rainier's list is so large that that he can deal with those shield wall armies better because he's got more models to deal with them. And obviously his strengths aren't quite as high as Mick's list. I think the Undying is probably a bit better of a caster, at least in the longevity department, compared to the 2 Ringwraiths. And Mick's list is a little smaller in points value, but I really like it. I think it could do a lot.
It's one of those fun lists where it's like, let me see if I can make 4 Wraiths work, just because like 2 Wraiths is pretty good, 3 Wraiths is nasty, 4 Wraiths is just like stupid. But it is like a good, like, they're gonna have to kill 24 models, I think it is, to break me. And yeah, I'd play this one too, to be honest. I don't think it's as balanced as my first one, or as my playstyle as my first one, but I do like the idea of, just rogue marching Wraiths and 4 Black Darts, or just 4 of anything going on. And Yeah, I like the idea of the Ringwraiths. I can even one dice it. They have some might for like heroic moves and stuff. But it's fun.
Yeah, but then who cares about balance? Just like go all in or just go home.
Exactly. Do the pirate walk, guys. Lean into it.
All right, have we got any other lists?
So I have another non-Mordor one.
Go for it.
So this is a 600 point list. So
Articon.
yes, you could take this to Articon. And this is more of a standard sort of Ringwraith list. So we've got Suladan on Armored Horse. You've never seen him before. In his warband, there are 9 Haradrim warriors with bows, 9 Serpent Guards. Warband number 2 is the Betrayer on horse, 8 Haradrim warriors with bows, 7 Serpent Guards. And in the final warband, there's the Haradrim King on horse, and he has 2 Serpent Riders and 1 Haradrim warrior with bow. So in total, in case you like bows, you've got 18 of them in this list at 600 points. You've got the Betrayer, which means all of your bows are going to be rerolling to wounds. All of your strikes in combat are going to be rerolling to wounds. You've got your 6-inch banner, fight 4 from the Serpent Guard. So it's a very strong list in combat, and it plays the shooting game extremely well. So this is more standard. It's got your classic Haradrim models with Suladan, the Betrayer, and the Haradrim King. But at 600 points, this is probably how I'd construct the list. And it's also got 39 models, so it's pretty large.
Yeah, it's good. It's one of those like it's a Haradrim list that like most people would take.
Yeah.
Like it's good competitive Haradrim list. Betrayer, Suladan. That's good.
I would love to be able to put Shadowlord in there too, somehow.
800 points, you can do it.
I think
Not at
now the
600,
Shadow Lord's Pale of Darkness, does that negate your guys hitting also?
No, it doesn't. Unless you put the Shadow Lord within 6 inches of your opponent's models, which seems like a pretty silly thing to do.
I mean, some people do it.
They do.
No, I like the idea of that too. I actually, the Articon that I won, I had Shadow Lord with Harad, and that's what I would do. I just sit back and have him like just like shoot and dominate the game like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I think it's probably one of those lists people might see at Articon, to be honest. I think at 600 points, the Haradrim build is really good because you're going to shoot the crap out of people and you have enough models to actually play the scenario. And on top of that, like Suladan gives you a banner for some of the scenarios. And it's just really good. If you guys do come up against this, just try to wound Suladan, get into combat as fast as possible. Yeah.
That is the major downside of Suladan at 600 points. Like most of the time, he's going to be the leader. Like he's only defense 5. He gets wounded. It's a point.
1 fate too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's and then he's like the only combat-y part, I would say. A good, like reliable combat-y part of the list too. So it is kind of hard once combat hits. You'll see these type of lists break. But they're really good at a distance. It's really good.
Oh, I mean, the list is pretty good in combat as well. It's got fight 4, it's got the banners, and it's got a horde of models. So it'll do the job. And also it cracks through high defense stuff because it re-rolls all to wound rolls from the Betrayer because you've got all your poison weapons. And also, I guess a little nod to Rainier here. I did bring the Haradrim King, who is a 2nd marcher, and he also provides a bit of secondary hitting power for Suladan.
Say it, Evan.
He is fight 5, yes.
Yes.
And he does.
Is he a named hero or an unnamed hero?
He is not a named hero.
Imagination, guys.
Crazy.
You can name him whatever you want.
I'll name this guy Ted. Anyways.
Ted, that's so what? That's all we have for our Ringwraiths.
It's only 5 lists with about 15 Ringwraiths between them or something.
We basically one-upped the French team for that one ETC. No, but it is. I like the idea of you see so much diversity. Not too much actually. Mick and I were like Moranans, Black Numenorians, Moranans, Black Numenorians.
Well,
But you.
I didn't have any Morons. I just had orcs.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
But Black Numenorians.
Black Numenorians, yeah.
But I do like the aspect that like the majority of lists you'll see Black Numenorians just because Black Numenorians are ridiculous for 9 points, and they're even more ridiculous with a Felbeast or with a Ringwraith.
Yeah.
So it amplifies what they're good at. I like how Evan brought some lists that aren't as conventional but are just as dangerous. The Haradrim one being, which you guys will probably see at a 600-point tournament. The Agmar one bringing the Shade back. Yeah, I really like. I don't know. Like, let us know. Like for our viewers, like if you guys like Ringwraiths, don't like Ringwraiths, Felbeast. I keep saying Felbeast. If you like Felbeast, don't like Felbeasts, and let us know. I'm curious who your favorite Ringwraith is, because I know we all have like a special one.
All right, so that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
Oh yeah, and don't forget the question Q&A. If you have any Q&As, drop it. We're gonna be posting that probably soon.
We're gonna be doing a Q&A episode very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.